Now, at the center of Zanu-PF factionalism is Professor Jonathan Moyo. Professor Jonathan Moyo is the one who produced a document known as Breaking Barriers Initiative, the document that is influencing the Mnangagwa faction to mutilate the constitution of Zimbabwe. That document justifies that Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa can easily seek a third term by even bypassing a referendum of which the constitution of Zimbabwe makes it clear. Now, historically, Professor Jonathan Moyo as well as Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa have seriously crossed their lines, dating back from the days of Cholocho declaration. You would understand that Professor Jonathan Moyo as well as Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, Elliot Manyika and others were working together in an effort to try and thwart the regime of Robert Gabriel Mugabe. But Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa turned against his allies and actually reported them to Robert Gabriel Mugabe, leading to Robert Gabriel Mugabe acting on all who were involved in what is popularly known as the Cholocho Declaration. Now, this man is seemingly giving Mnangagwa faction, the desperate Mnangagwa faction, advice to go for a third term. Is it a wise decision for Mnangagwa faction to take counsel from Professor Jonathan Moyo? Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hloniphani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. I think on Professor Jonathan Moyo, I'll rightfully put it this way. Professor Jonathan Moyo is like the United States of America. He has no permanent friends, but he always has a permanent interest, and he always has a way of revenging to his enemies, and he does so without his enemies actually realizing so. Now he came back to Zanu-PF and he began to revenge against Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, and almost on a daily basis. During the last days of Robert Gabriel Mugabe, Professor Jonathan Moyo was on social media exposing Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa so that they could fight with Robert Gabriel Mugabe. They were long-time allies, Mnangagwa with Robert Gabriel Mugabe, but they ended up not seeing eye to eye. And at the center of that was Professor Jonathan Moyo. Well, Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa countered him with the coup of 2017. Professor Jonathan Moyo and Robert Gabriel Mugabe, in fact, for Robert Gabriel Mugabe, he died being a member of the opposition, and he voted for the opposition during the 2018 elections. He actually made it public. There are videos demonstrating and depicting that he voted for Nelson Chamisa in 2018. He wanted the opposition to lead rather than Zanu-PF. Equally so, individuals like Professor Jonathan Moyo, they were supporting the MDC alliance then, which was led by Nelson Chamisa. But unfortunately, Mnangagwa rigged elections during broad daylight, and Professor Jonathan Moyo did not stop at fighting against Mnangagwa. He even wrote a book called Excelgate to expose how Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa and Zanu-PF rig elections. And amusingly, that document was read by numerous opposition political party leaders. That book, it is still there and it is being sold. The opposition members and leaders became the major buyers of that particular book. And he wanted to teach the people who were going to man the elections on behalf of opposition I think that is where misunderstanding started with Nelson Chamisa. With Nelson Chamisa refusing, they became sworn enemies. And in order to fight Nelson Chamisa, what did Professor Jonathan Moyo do? He went to bed with Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, advised him to create a Sengezo Chabangu and actually destabilize the opposition. He did successfully revenge to Nelson Chamisa, but the question is, has he forgiven Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa? Was that not a tactic for Mnangagwa to begin to believe in him? Definitely, we cannot actually shy away from that particular view. At the moment, Professor Jonathan Moyo seems to have gained trust to Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. All of these two, they appear to possess similar similarities. Just like Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, he does not care about friendship, maintaining friendship. He is not a loyal politician. To him, what matters is the time, as well as whether his interests are protected. If you are protecting his interest, you become an ally. When Chiwenga promised to aid Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa in 2017 or before 2017, they were allies. They were good friends. I'm sure they were even calling each other on a daily basis. When Chiwenga got what Mnangagwa wants, but also he intended to take over from him, Mnangagwa saw him as an enemy. He tried to eliminate him, but he did not achieve that. Now, Professor Jonathan Moyo understands that, and bringing the Breaking Barriers document to Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, of which Professor Jonathan Moyo advised him to bring it through the controlled opposition by Zanu-PF of Sengezo Chabangu, and this was done. The document has found the light in Parliament. He is even advising on how to actually come up with a bill that will see Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa going for a third term. I'm sure Professor Jonathan Moyo has written extensively about the deep state in Zimbabwe and the power of the military in Zimbabwe. He understands it very, very well. He understands the power of war veterans very, very well. And he understands that Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, if he takes an initiative to go for a third term, this would be a serious red line to the deep state in Zimbabwe, and they will all in their numbers come after him. And if Mnangagwa is dismantled, Professor Jonathan Moyo would have revenged. He would be the smiling man at a corner in Kenya. If Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa is also successful, I think Professor Jonathan Moyo may celebrate that he managed to actually create a wedge between Chiwenga as well as Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. So for Professor Jonathan Moyo, I think he's already laughing wherever in the corner where he is, because he has made people who united to go after him, now to be sworn political enemies. That is retired General Chiwenga as well as Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa. So to him, that is a benefit already, but I'm sure he would love to see Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa going down if he would still be alive. The very same Professor Jonathan Moyo may also come back politically to continue targeting those who actually crossed his lines. He doesn't use weapons, but he uses his brains. Who would have ever imagined that Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa would be sending the likes of Ziyambi, as well as the Attorney General Mabiza, to actually get counsel from Professor Jonathan Moyo out of all the people. That is how powerful Professor Jonathan Moyo has become in Zanu-PF. He may be currently in Kenya, but he is technically controlling Zanu-PF and deciding how Zanu-PF actually moves ahead. Already, when you watch the scenes wherever he is laughing for what he has achieved so far and what he's aiming to achieve at the end of the day. So I've said this, I think this is the second time and this is the last time I will say this. I thought it is very, very important for people to be aware of this. Professor Jonathan Moyo is not an individual who values relationships, who values political allies. He values interest. He values his pocket. And any other thing, he does not care about it. If it means to eat on the same plate with the enemy who attempted to kill him, he can do so for the purposes of achieving his own interest. Thank you very much for watching us. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we film live, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. For the last time, Mnangagwa should watch his back. Oganqube Umhlabane is signing off. Let me love and leave you the other side of the life.